Hello, everyone. Welcome to another episode of The Green Factor, a show where we talk about green design and the business of sustainability. I'm your host, Haris the Green Carpenter, and today we'll be talking about building global team. And with us today, we have Mr. Zikry from Incitement. He has been, the Incitement have been in, I think, 40 plus countries, and he has been dealing a lot with people all over the world, recruiting, maintaining, managing, and those kind of things. So I feel like I've always wanted him to be on the show, and luckily today we have him. Hi, Zikri.
Hey man, how are you, Harith?
I'm good. I'm good. So today we're going to talk about building global team. However, before we start, for the benefit of the viewers and listeners, could you please introduce yourself and tell us a bit about your journey and how it all started?
No, with pleasure. First of all, I'd like to thank you and the whole entire Green Factory community for having me in this highly esteemed show that you've been hosting almost every week. I believe I'm on the 31st show now, so quite honored to be here. I'm a Malaysian who been living abroad all my life, just because my parents were diplomats. Been basically done a lot of stuff, um, trying many things that drove my interest, from trying the diplomatic force field to the intergovernmental organization. I've been living abroad all my life, starting with Iraq and then moved to Austria, Croatia, United States, Indonesia, Jordan. So all of this experiences that I went through sort of kind of formed up what I've been always wanting to do is how am I able to create a tangible impact by helping those who are in need with real world problems. So I'm sure you've heard the notion of first world problems, which only applies in developed nations of people who with some privilege. But real world problems are those who are related to hardcore poverty, to the refugee crisis, through even energy poverty or mental health issues. I mean, they're very rampant globally. Now, when I came back to Malaysia, I started working in a personal growth company that was based in the with markets based in the US, and this is where I started my Incitement journey, which was initially a movement. I co-founded it with my co-founder from the Netherlands, was also working in the same company with me. And initially, this is just a movement. It wasn't even a company, and we were doing it out of our interest and our passion and hobby, you could say, on trying to create a call to action that would help the people who join our Incitement talks. And we had a problem with some of the talks at those in during that period, back in 2010, 2011. You always go to a keynote talk, which is always a 45-minute keynote with a Q&A and then a networking session, but it ends there. So we thought we should dissect this and make this very unconference style, very much inspired by how Tony Robbins does his seminars, but compacted in a 1 hour and a half show. So this was the difference of doing more than just having talks, because we asked the speakers to be more engaging, more interactive. We had activities in between the speakers to interact with the audience. And last but not least, we have a round called the appreciation round, to allow our audience to sort of share who empowered them tonight, who inspired them tonight, just to kind of create the moment. And our goal was to just get one person to kind of tear up, because that sets the mood and creates a special moment for people to kind of just share their appreciation. Now, when you set that kind of stage, it allows people to want to be in the knowing of how can they be more self fulfilled after attending such a powerful talk. So that's when our initiatives come in. We would have all these various um, initiatives, programs, volunteering opportunities by funneling everybody on that same day, um, by telling them, go sign up, go do this if you want to help the refugee issue, go here if you want to volunteer right now to help the homeless issue in Malaysia. And people were just signing up just because of that staging that we created. That's one way to create a moment to kind of give a more powerful, compelling call to action rather than just having a normal talk. And that somehow conspired Incitement to grow in many cities over the coming years. By our third year of doing the Incitement as a movement, Incitement was already present in almost over 30 countries. And that's when we thought it was a good time to leave our full-time jobs and crack our heads on how to make this a full-time gig. Of course, it's very scary if you leave a company that's been paying you every month. But rest assured, everything is conspired for us in the most positive way. So fast forward now, what Incitement was doing mostly as a business, a purposeful business, was more about connecting with Fortune 500 companies, with tangible social impact projects that is hosted or owned by NGOs, organizations, social enterprises, even universities. And Incitement becomes the accountability platform to ensure that the funds being used is done correctly. The accountability of the funded projects shows proof and progress that helps companies to craft their own CSR report. But 4 years ago, we decided to go. Oh, sorry, 5 years ago now. Yeah, we decided to go digital because it just makes sense. It simplifies our work. We digitalize the impact reporting. We digitalize the matchmaking. We created our own social media platform specifically made for those who want to create tangible impact. So on this platform, it allows all the companies to look for projects that needs funding, and it actually disclose how much they need, how they're going to spend it, who are the beneficiaries, where are the target groups, who are the target groups. And because it's a social media, everybody can comment, everybody can get engaged. And it's dominantly now with hundreds of projects in Southeast Asia, with other hundreds of brands and companies being involved. It's also recruitment volunteering a tool as well. It also helps you to crowdfund. We even add gamification, where if you keep posting content, you get points, which is redeemable through, and you can use those redeemable points to donate to your own cause, for example. So there's a lot of these uh, um, features that we have included. So that's basically my Incitement journey. We've been winning a lot of accolades lately, whether if it's from Forbes or Tatler, being mentioned everywhere and so forth. But the main goal still persists, and it's still a challenge for us till this day on trying to crack more openings to capture human behavior on using such a platform, whether this is something more tangible or not. One of the issues was verifying nonprofits themselves, because a lot of people could use platform like ours or any other platform that's like us for illegal money laundering, or for projects that's a hoax that is merely non-existent. So we even added a verification tool to ensure that we verify every single nonprofit that they're legit with the projects that they do. So I guess I've been talking a lot, so I don't know what else can I add more value to your question, Haris. So was it good enough, I hope?
It's good. It's good. I think just to share with you guys, I'm also one of the attendees of the Incitement class. I think one of the first
Oh
few
yeah,
classes you
that's
do.
right.
Yeah, we it was good. I mean, like it adds value and some clarity into what I'm doing. So I'm that's why I've been interested in what you're doing and the progress and all that. And you have shift a lot right now, so it's interesting
Absolutely.
to know what you're doing. So I think I want to touch a little bit on the current issues that you're looking into, like the partnership, the partner, and then the. Can you just add a little bit more in terms of how it works, how you monitor that thing, because the issue with online thing, it's easy to be deceivable. So how do you manage that?
If I understood your question correctly, do you want to know how
Verification,
clarification? Okay.
verification.
Verifying.
Mm.
Okay. Well, it's based on the entity's registration. Like not everybody can just simply um, run a project and not being registered, because that has a lot of red flags in many ways. You may have a name, you may have a Facebook a page, or a Insta story, Instagram account, but what's more important is to understand whether you are a proper nonprofit organization or social enterprise. So we need proof. So we would ask for your bank's registration, your registration of societies, or corporation. We need to see the signatory of the owner of the nonprofit, and all of that is given to us. And once it's approved, you get a green tick on it. Not
It's like the tick one.
Yes,
Nice,
yes, you get a
nice,
tick,
nice,
so
nice.
people will have more confidence in
Confidence.
working
Understand.
with you. Yeah.
Cool, cool, cool. So it's a platform where is it just NGO or social entrepreneurs, or who can list the thing there?
Universities can list them. A a society from a club from in a university, or an organization that is an ROC or ROS. ROC not so much, but mostly ROS societies, clubs like Rotary Club or Isaac, for example.
Mm,
All kinds of social enterprises who needs to keep crowdfunding if necessary for their own project. And we don't crowdfund the entity. You
mm.
crowdfund, or you
The
raise
project.
funds for the projects. Because
Mm,
if I were to give you money to donate to an organization, I would never know as a donor how is this money being spent. So
mm,
to elevate this belief that the NGOs are not really doing anything, which is quite a dominant stigma, is to have NGOs to list these projects that they are running. So with the project that they're running, you can see the updates that's there. So the moment you donate or you
mm.
follow that
The
specific project,
monitoring.
yes, yes, it is. It's another way of being accountable, and
Mm,
the nonprofits or the project owners, they have to disclose updates, whether it's weekly or bi-daily, so you understand how they are moving, or what are and it drives content. Content is always king. So when you have more content on the project that you do, whether it's a video or a bunch of photos, or someone just wrote an article about it, it's a great way for even
mm,
news media outlet to come and check out what's going on with this project and see how much they've raised and how they're doing it.
mm,
And the moment you end the project on the platform, and there will be an impact reporting that generates for you
mm,
automatically, which is what most companies love, because then they can capture what was recorded as tangible impact
mm.
and put it on their sustainability report, especially if you're a listed company.
Yeah, yeah. So it's more of the transparency and also reporting part of it, right?
Yes, transparency is
Are
very
you using
important.
blockchain? I think last time you said you're gonna planning to do blockchain.
Yes, the blockchain is still there, but we don't really mention it that much lately, because the feature hasn't really been getting enough adoption from the user cases.
Understand,
But
understand.
it is there, nevertheless. It's just a
Mm,
matter of time to sort of capitalize the blockchain feature on the platform. So as of now,
mm,
because we want to maximize our resources on the priorities of how we're doing things, and thanks to the pandemic, a lot of things had to be readjusted.
mm,
So there is, I mean, the blockchain currently is on the side at the moment, but it is
mm.
there to be ready once we
Yep.
have enough user case to get it all out.
Okay, so that is the current thing. So let's backtrack a little bit. Like
Okay.
when you the matter of how do you approach the matter of going global? Like you start from Malaysia, and then how
Yeah.
do you see why do you go global, and like how what is the mindset behind it?
Um, I've always believed that you can't go global until you establish yourself where you are. So going global is not something that you have to go and look for someone to go global. Market expansion, unless you um, are funded to do so. We were not in that position. We were more or less trying to make it sexy and cool and loud enough for people to gather enough support, enough raving fans of the Incitement movement, and enough and more members on the group. um, the part for us that started us to sort of expand global is just basically people were asking, what is Incitement? What do you guys do? It looks pretty cool. It looks like people are touched. How do I get involved? How do I do this? How do I bring to my country? So this was an inquiry that happened like a year and a half after we started Incitement in Kuala Lumpur back in 2011. And people were just asking, how can I bring it to my city? How can I bring it to my country? How can I bring it to my community? And the that's when you know that number one, it's validation that something that you're doing is actually getting the right attention, and second, that it's a proven concept for people to try this out in their community and do a plug and play. So on our part, what we did was we just built a manifesto and a franchise program for those who want to register and have a Incitement license membership to run in their own city. And that's when it started to become more globally demanding in that sense. Um, we were giving offer. It gave me the chance to travel also with my team, so that was another good excuse. So whenever there's an Incitement happening in Jordan, or when it's happening in Italy, or when it's happening in Spain, or in the UK, or in the Netherlands, or in Indonesia, or Philippines, we get to go travel and see how they do it. Like we have the main um, I guess the main benchmark, and however you want to um, turn it into your own style. What differentiates between Incitement Colombia versus Incitement Malaysia? There's two different cultures aside, so they have different ways to do it. But the benchmark of running an Incitement event at that time still is the same DNA. And I what is more profounding with running an Incitement on the global stage is that just like how we started to gather enough community members, people who run communities on their own right, people who are from various nonprofits or companies, and they started to like being part of the Islamic community because they're connecting with really like-minded people who just want to create tangible change. Who just want to have this self-fulfillment of wanting to do more than just working the 9 to 5 or start a new company or whatnot. So every Incitement community globally had their own community of running nonprofits and helping around. We even had Incitement in Palestine, with a bunch of run by all single mothers from a Christian based family in near Bethlehem. And it was very different because people thought, isn't Palestine dominantly Muslim? Yes, but we have also the Christian communities who are the one running the show over there, and they had different sets of problems dealing with roadblocks because of the however you want to call it. It's an occupation that's not allowing them to grow. But other countries, they thrive. Like we made partnerships with co-working places at that time, like Impact Hub was so big back then, or any co-working spaces. Incitement was even open. We even had Incitement in universities globally also, and they also had on their license. They all have to renew. It's free also, and the reason why we make it free is there's no need for us to charge. There's no because it's the data at the end of the day. We want to know how they groomed in their own way in this
Mm,
particular
mm,
city, so that one day if you ever want to go into their market in what we're doing now with Incitement platform and through in the partner program platform, which I will tell you later, it makes
mm,
things easier. It's just like you are having the foundations of a building block in different countries, and then you already have the door ready, you have the window ready. It's just a matter of time where to put it in. So it's just gonna
mm,
fit in just like a glove. So that was the
Yeah.
long-term strategy, of course.
Mhm.
And again, like the going global, this is just my story. I know many people who have their own companies or startup. Once they get Series A, Series B, they are demanded to go global, and they have to find ways to penetrate in new markets, especially countries with higher user base of smartphones. Right, Indonesia is one of them, Thailand, Vietnam now. So the competition becomes very, very hard in that sense. Number one, and number two, you're basically going there for creating new revenue channels. That's the main layman terms of doing such things.
Yeah, so
Uh,
that would be, I think, the next question, which is like, so okay, you want to go global because you have the validation, you have a proof of concept, and you feel like the way you move is through empowering those branches or those other parts of the rest other part of me lah. But
yeah.
what the specific challenge that you when you try to go global, because you have so many people, so how, what
Mhm.
are the challenge?
I mean, I don't really have on the personal level because I keep in touch with all of them somehow. I think that's my my superpower. I'm able to just remember who to talk to, how to maintain and reciprocate the people that we were in touch with to run Incitement. We would do a lot of check-ins. There's a very systematic way to do so. But I think what it requires to overcome challenges like this to maintain is to have someone who's able to, um, yeah, who just can't stop talking like me. I mean, I can stop talking, but it's more about how much are you,
The
how much.
communication, is it the communication?
Oh, definitely. You're talking to different people from different various beliefs and backgrounds and cultural backgrounds also. So it requires one person who can um, literally communicate without any prejudice or without any expectation or assumption. Someone you can connect with immediately on an interpersonal level, not just from a professional level. If you're looking at numbers, that's another thing that you can keep everybody accountable. There's always a monthly check-in or a weekly check-in for different regions that you can focus on. But like I said, on our part, because they are licensed out, they get to run how they want to run it. What they have to do with us is just to make sure that the type of content that they roll out is not against our manifesto or our principle in that sense. Um, Other challenges, yeah, could be like we had people who were trying to fake an event so that they can kind of, I don't know, ride the popularity, that kind of stuff. Do you have people like that who just, some form of scamming? That's going to happen, no doubt, in any businesses. I've been going through that many times. And now it's pretty much like, uh, no, it's easy to prevent it from the experiences that we had.
Yeah, I
But
think like also the your background, because you travel a lot, you know a lot of other cultures as well, so it helps with the communication.
yes.
But like what attracts them, or like how do you attract them to be part of your movement or your company and all that?
Um, I think it has to do a lot with your um, the charisma that you put into your work, how much you want to portray your work, the branding, especially the wording of your branding, and it's also about how you say rather than what you say. And that's the beauty of communication is you can say one word, but it's a matter of how you say it. And for us, it was never a problem to attract all kinds of walks of life who wanted to join or work with us. We even had people who can't even afford. Like we had this former CMO of Versace applying for Incitement at one time, and I remember talking to my co-founder. I'm like, how are we gonna, he'll be how do you say, team member for sure because of his vast experience working at a one of the biggest luxurious fashion brand. But at the same time, we couldn't really afford him. It was at least $30,000 a month, at least. So, or maybe more. I'm just being very humble with that amount. But we never had that problem. But if you really want to attract and empower more people, whether if it's for your community or especially for your company, you need to literally portray what you say on your website. You can't just say we are a SDG goal focus, and then when you go and work there, you find out it's just all half-assed, or you're just saying for the sake of saying, because people need to see and believe it when they're there. The last thing you want is to kind of put them down by over exaggerating. Another thing is you should never over promise and under deliver, which happens a lot till this day. You need to have a bit of a surprise element in that sense. And you have to work around on how you are wanting to do that with your company. And another aspect of empowering talents is about the management too. How much does management really care about the team or the employees? How much involved is he? How much does he really care? These are all, if you're not a Fortune 500 company, these are the least things you have to worry. But if you're starting and you have even a team of 50, even, like, you want to be able to be seen, as an important figure or significant enough to be showing and leading the way for your colleagues. Because if they do the work, they still need to see how is the captain driving the ship, right, sailing the ship. If the captain seems like he's just there for the sake of, yeah, I just want revenue, 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 there's not much to say on how can I help you and you and you and you. It's not just like, don't rely on HR all the time. It's about the type of people that you are putting in charge to lead. So if you cannot have these people in place, and even though you've attracted the type of talent to join you who are hungry and wanting to grow, then the problem here is that your leadership, your people on the leadership team is just not up to par. They're not up to the standard that you want to maintain. And you need to figure that one out quick, because if you don't do that quick enough, it becomes a toxic company culture, which can stick for a very long time.
So that is where I think the next question is more on the managing and aligning them. So
Yeah.
you've attract them with your charisma, the work that you do, and the purpose and all that. And it's about managing and align. So when we talk about local team, then it's quite straightforward. If not straightforward, pun, it's there. But when we talk about the global team, like how do you manage that, the alignment? Because you can't physically be there, right?
No, of course you can't physically be there. I mean, you don't need to be there, to be honest. And like I said, the people in our case, the people who had our licensing with Incitement, for example, they can't simply apply. They need to go for an interview. So you add filters before, so you know who you're gonna have them in your team, global team in this case. There's a tremendous work to be done in managing each other through accountability. Everyone is accountable with everybody else, so we pair people to pretty much become like brother sister cities or countries, so that they can always talk to each other. Not just always rely on headquarters, but also rely on who amongst the other Simon chapters or Simon cities or countries are capable to help other Simon. Um, so this means if there's a bunch of Simon chapters in Europe, one of the many chapters in Europe will become the go-to person to sort of be accountable, because it's either they've been there for the longest or they're just really good at it. And for headquarters, we always check with everybody once every quarter. For those who are within their own region, they check on each other every month, because some of them do Incitement events or Incitement programs either monthly or bi-monthly or every quarter. So it really depends on how they do it. But the beauty about that is everybody understands the vision, the mission of Incitement, keeps them in check. So it's all about delegation. If you're already good at communicating and trying to push people forward, and making sure that they are accountable with what they've been tasked to do as an incitement chapter, for example, or running an assignment program, then delegation will be a bit easier, and delegating the work, and also knowledge sharing among the rest. It's a culture that you have to build, literally. And it's not easy to build a culture that people could like, because not everyone is on the same page. You might have a few bad apples who are just not really into it, but those who are, it just helps conspire the whole group to just keep moving. So, um, so the point here is, you need to be able to delegate with your other trusted branch, or chapters around the world, or your country manager in this case, and have them to be accountable for others as well within the region, so you can check on each other. So we just go region by region: Africa, Middle East, Europe, North America, and Asia. So that's one of the ways that we have done it, which has worked. And they are always accountable and transparent with what's going on and so forth, because we still want numbers at the end of the day.
Cool, cool, cool. So what I heard is accountability through pairing as well. So you have a kind of like a mentor mentee kind of way
Yeah.
to check in once in a while, depending on the communication schedule. Also
Yes.
delegation
Yeah.
and knowledge sharing culture. So it's quite a lot. Everything on its own, it's a big thing. So
Yeah.
uh,
That's why I'm saying it's gonna have to be the person that who's capable of doing it. Like, not
mhm.
everybody can do it. That's the honest truth. If you
So
really put
that
the heart.
filter, I think that filter also help filtering people that joins you rather than just take any Tom, Dick, and Harry, right?
Yeah, no, definitely not Tom, Dick, and Harry, but you definitely need to filter every single step of the way. Filter by getting to know them first. Filter by looking at their background. Filter by looking at if they have any references, for example. Or someone you might know on call, because these are some of the defensive mechanism before you can accept them into your hood, or into your cult, or your membership. So
The cult,
filtering.
eh?
Well, we were not really a cult, just so you know. We're just like any normal movement out there trying to save the world ish.
So yeah, we are almost at the end of the
Oh
show.
no.
The last question I want to ni before we summarize everything is because you've been doing um, social enterprise or doing looking for the impact. So right
Yeah.
now, what do you see in the future for impact companies?
I believe there'll be more blended companies that are purpose driven, but using mostly technology, capitalizing technology on applying real issues on the ground. I think there's a lot of them that's been done, which is focus on food security, for example, mostly done on monitoring progresses of various mental health and diseases and so forth. And of course, trying to build more this gig economy, which is another thing. Gig economy is like one of the biggest things that has ever happened during pandemic in Malaysia, but it's always been big in the US for the longest time. So a lot of these, what I actually look for in bank companies nowadays is trying to literally embrace technology, because we've gone past through this period now, and not just by, and creating a website and showing what you do is not technology, to be honest. It's just a informational channel for people to understand who you really are. But the various tech that you could use, robotics, for example, amazing. Augmented reality, another way to kind of expand the scope of your impact that you could imply on. AI are overly used, but still it's still important to this day. Trying to gather real life data, not just bullshit data that's been crunched up by by human error. There's a lot of these various sophisticated, advanced technology that can be applied and used, and it's available at your very own tip of your finger. So that's the type of companies I like to look at more for creating impact. It doesn't necessarily have to be a company. NGOs, they should be embracing technology as much as all of us, because not many of them do, surprisingly. They're still going with the old traditional way. The unconventional way is still very difficult for that change, because it's going to disrupt many things that's been sort of working for them. But they need to really understand that the world is changing like this. So they need to really look at the not just digitalization of their work, but also look at what kind of technology, whether it's the software as a service, whether it's a hardware or some kind of um, hardware output or application that they can use to maximize their impact. They need to start venturing into this quick. It's already 2022, and we don't know what's happening next 2 years. It's also very difficult now to plan in the next 5 years. Now you have to look at what's happening around the world.
Yeah, yeah, right. It's very erratic. So I think like
Yeah,
1 year is like now is quite still okay, but more than
exactly.
that, it's like you need to play by ear lah.
Exactly. So
Yeah.
you understand where I'm coming from.
So basically, if you people want to know more, I think they can look at the your Facebook and also on LinkedIn. And also, do you want to talk a little bit about the partner incitement?
Yeah. So one of the things that we've been working on to sort of maximize the awareness of um, social impact projects by organizations globally, or in this case in Malaysia at this point, is that a lot of crowdfunding campaigns that they run, statistics shows that 87% of the time most crowdfunding campaigns fail. And there's various reasons for that. Number one, you're first of all you're gonna cough up a lot of your own costs to hire someone to do the all fundraising, to the roadshow, to the campaign, and there's a lot of cost there, and that's not even getting the campaign ready. And we don't know how much awareness can you get out of that. And one of the ways that we're solving this is trying to get to crowdsource people, whether you are a content creator, a blogger, a vlogger, students in the masses, who could just pick a project that they would like to promote through their own network, whether it's their WhatsApp group, social media, whatnot, or just their own subscription list. You can generate your own link through this partner program here by picking all the NGO projects that you like to support. And with that link, you can share it, and it helps track those who donate to this link. And this partner program actually provides you with a um, dashboard, and this dashboard allows you to track how many people have clicked at your link, how many views have you gotten from your link that you've been sharing, how many donations have you managed to get from your link. And the Incitement platform actually rewards 10% for every donation you make. So if someone donates 100 ringgit to your unique link, you get 10 ringgit, and we will actually pay you with real cash through the dashboard. Other thing is, it's a perfect place for content creators to see how their link is doing for social project related content, because there are great insights where you can see which dates and where did this click came from and whatnot, and you can monitor it easily. So this is what the partner program is. It's supposed to empower more people out there to help promote nonprofits projects and get them donated through their own network. I think the beauty about this is there's a lot of organic awareness for the projects that's getting promoted. So just imagine if there's an influencer of 1 million followers, he or she shares it with their own promoted unique link. You might get 100,000 people, worst case scenario, to view on your link. And that, from another 100,000, you may get another 10,000 people from that 100,000 who may just donate. So this is one of the ways that we're trying to pump up more organic traffic and more rewarding um, involvement for those who are
Promotion.
willing to help. Yeah, I mean, I see nothing wrong with this, because affiliate marketing has been there for the longest time with e-commerce platforms and so forth. So why not with charities?
Cool, cool, cool. So yes, I think one of the reason I did this show is to get this kind of conversation and things out, because
Okay.
there's a lot of initiative that is like unheard of, like for example, like what you're doing is it's amazing. I mean, like it's also seamless in a way that people are familiar with it. It's not that something that is out of the blue. So it's interesting to know that you are doing it, and it's from Malaysia lah. So we are proud of you
Oh,
as
thanks
well.
so much for that.
And so for all the listeners, if you find value in the conversation, do share with your family, your friends, and whoever that might benefit from it. And also be part of our community, the Green Design
Yeah,
Malaysia,
be
where
part of
we
that.
have more of these conversations. We have entrepreneurs, designers, students, and researchers, and we want to develop more of regarding local knowledge, especially in terms of sustainability. When we talk about sustainability, it's always when we search, it's always a Western kind of a story and all that. So we want to create more local stories or share local stories because there are a lot of them. So thank you very much, Zikri, for being part of the show. And thank you
My
very
pleasure.
much, everyone, for tuning in. And see you next week. Have a green week ahead. Bye bye,
Have
guys.
have a fantastic green week ahead to you too.